Hi, Charmaine. I'm Kim. So, before we get started, I wanted to get your consent to record this interview. Um, I will not be recording you, and if you don't want to be seen, that is fine. I will just be recording your responses and myself. Okay, so I'm going to begin with the interview. So, question number one. Please share with me anything that comes to mind that informs me of your culture.
Okay, Trinidad, but I'm actually half Indian and half Trinidadian, so that makes up a big part of my culture.
Okay, and how do you come to know what you know about your culture?
My parents taught me about it on both cultures and the importance. And I kind of carry that with me throughout my life.
So you're Indian from your father's side?
From my father. Yeah, my father.
Okay.
Indian. Trinidadian.
Okay. And then if you can give me a little bit more information on the Trinidadian?
Trinidadian.
Yeah, okay. If you can give me a little bit more information on that background, because I'm not too informed on it, and I would definitely like to know a little bit more.
Sure. So Trinidad is basically it's like a so like my mom, for instance, her dad is Venezuelan and her mom was Creole. So it's like French mixture. So it's just the history kind of it's like tribal from a long time ago, but then it got taken over by the Spaniards, the French, and the English. So hence why we're so mixed up. We have so many different people that create Trinidad pretty much.
Wow, that's really fascinating. That's really interesting to know because I feel like I've heard these names and these other countries and areas around the world, but I never really knew exactly what, makes them that culture. So while I understand, the LGBT community and what makes them their culture and the Latinx community and that culture, I never really understood like the culture behind people that come from Trinidad. So that's actually really fascinating to learn.
Even like have like a like I'm considered that race. It's called Dogla, and it's when a person is mixed with Indian and something else. So but it doesn't exist anywhere else in the world but Trinidad. It's quite crazy. It's amazing.
And it's Dogla?
Dogla, yeah.
Dogla. Okay. Let me write that down. Is it Dogla?
Yes.
Okay. And if at all possible, please share with me any stereotypes you've heard shared about your culture.
Stereotypes?
Any kind of stereotypes. So I would say like for the Hispanic Latinx culture, it's the stereotyping of, well, if you're a female and you're 16, you're gonna be pregnant and dropped out of high school. So that would be like an example of a stereotype.
Okay. Trinidad, it's not. I guess I never growing up there. I never experienced that. I was more like nobody really considered me Spanish because but I was like as a kid I was called like names of Indian names that wasn't really good names. Like one of them were Akuli, and that is considered like a really derogatory term to call someone like a call aspect that I may not be aware of or know. So those are some of the things I guess I've dealt with.
Okay. And then, so you mentioned how people will, like, question how you know, like, English so well. Is English a very commonly used language in Trinidad?
Yeah, it's all permanent. Spoken like generation style. So I never.
Oh, okay.
Only English.
Okay. And then, do you believe the stereotypes to be true?
Actually, this is a new culture here. So, but just don't know. So,
Okay. And so, based off of the information that you've provided and how people tend to view you, would you say that you do or do not fit the stereotypes that people tend to place on you? Okay. No, I feel like you've explained enough to me that, because you do come from an educated background, you are able to speak English. So I think in that and me asking you if that is a primary language in Trinidad, I feel like that gives me like the notion of, you've worked to go against those stereotypical ideations and behaviors. Do you feel that way as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what emotions are present for you when you are treated as though you are a stereotypical female that comes from Trinidad? What emotions and feelings?
Really had me thinking because I think that was the moment I realized that I'm different because and it's just because and as years went by, the treatment of different situations it made me feel like okay, I'm different. Maybe I had to clear up how I speak. I had to like work on myself to adapt to the environment that I was in. So it makes me sad, and sometimes now that I'm a little bit older, I think that maybe I kind of lost a little bit of myself in the transition of trying to adapt. But I still try to stick to like my core beliefs and my values and and my culture. So yeah.
So what do you currently do, or what have you done to kind of feel like you're, I guess, to kind of bring back those roots for yourself?
To like be there and just we're friendly. So I always try to stick to being friendly. I try to be abrasive. I try to like cook my food from my country. I keep like some of my totally they understand it. So I just trying those things into my life still. Just kind of keep to being the person that I important people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so when it comes to like the culture aspect, do you feel like you mentioned how you had to change a lot of things like um about yourself to kind of fit into the culture and the society that is presented here in America. Did you feel like it was a huge drastic change? Did you feel like people were accepting of that? Like more accepting of you once you became more, I guess, like when you adapted to the American culture and their point of views in their society.
Yes, it was. I was more accepted. Talk to me because so people would pretend to understand, and I thought they really didn't. But as I couldn't, I tried to train myself to be more clear with when I spoke to others. But so I would say yes, people have been more embracing, more tolerable. Um, and yeah, in a lot of ways that have made my life easier because I'm in that environment. I'm not around people from Trinidad. I'm around Americans. So it did make my life easier in my job, in my school, just everyday living. Yeah.
And after people get to know you and know who you are and learn that you come from a different background, are they willing to like learn about it? Are they accepting of it? Or has no one like do people just not really try to like learn about it?
Friends, yeah, my friends, they've been accepting and they've been part of it, and in some cases they've even gone to Trinidad with me. But in general, public, not really, because a lot of people don't even know about Trinidad. I've had people ask, is it in India, is it in Africa? They don't really know about it or know about the island because it's so tiny. But my friends in general, yes, they've been very interested.
Do you feel like you have like a good support system to where you can continue to feel like you're bringing those roots back, you're starting to like you can embrace your culture? Are they like willing to get involved? You mentioned that they've gone to Trinidad with you, but do they ever try to like get to learn more or like kind of see like aside from going to the country and touring it or cooking like a meal that comes from Trinidad? Like are they typically like supportive and embracive and like want to learn more?
To have cooked Trinidad food, and yeah, it's very connected. I mean, listen to music, they wanted to go to like different parties would have. Yeah, it's very interesting. It's nice. So, yeah.
That's really great. I'm glad that you've been able to not only find a way to adapt to the culture that is typically seen out here in America, but then also be able to bring your own culture back to yourself and try to find who you were before that. I think that's something that's really humbling and like really great to be able to do because it is so easy to kind of get lost in a different culture, in a different city, in a different like environment. So I think that's really great that you have people that are able to help you embrace that side of you.
Yes.
So moving on to question number 4. If at all possible, please share with me any stereotypes that you have heard shared about my culture.